Module 1, Video 3. We're going to be working on Bolero groove with these same chord progressions we've already been doing. And in addition to that, we're going to add using some inversions, which is going to really help us. So take a look at the PDF that is in the folder for this week. We have a Bolero groove with in the key of D minor. And take a look at line A there, the first line, and let's practice this pattern together. Just one hand at a time, and let's focus on the left hand first. This is like the kind of the classic bass line for the Bolero. So try this with me. It's going to sound like this: 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Get my metronome going for us. Here we go. 1, 2, loop it, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So that's our Bolero bass line. And just looking at that first line there, I'm going to take the left hand down an octave just to get it out of the way of the right hand and leave the right hand where it's at. And when we put these together, this is all, you can subdivide this in eighth notes to really lock this all together. So you can hear this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're playing on all 8 of the eighth notes except for beat 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I'll move my hands closer together. I don't want to do it in this octave because the D's get, you have to share it on this one beat, but I'll show it to you like this so you can see how I'm coordinating the rhythm. 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and. So try that with me. Line A. I'm going to move my left hand down an octave again. Let's loop it. I'll do a 4-measure phrase, and then you can practice it on your own. So 1, 2, ready, go. So always practice with the metronome, and go ahead and slow these things down when you need to, and come back to the video and see if you can do it along with me. So let's move on to the second line here. This is our 1, 4, 5, 1 progression in D minor with this Bolero groove. So to practice this stuff, I'm already going to slow down the metronome for us to do this all together, and I'm assuming that it's going to be hard for you to do these things all together. So here are some tricks to breaking down something like this to be able to practice it so that you can play it all together. First thing is you want to be able to just play the first bass note in the chord and move through the key, through the chords. So I'm doing like the first beat here, this first beat of the second measure, third measure, fourth measure, just that second line. Next thing you might want to practice is getting from like changing the chords basically. So getting from here to here, and you might want to do that like 10 times, right? Or maybe getting from the second measure to the third measure. third measure to the fourth measure. That's one way to practice. First way is maybe the one you're most familiar with, which is just doing one hand at a time. For this, I find that to be not as useful because it's kind of hard to practice the right hand rhythm without the left hand rhythm there also. Maybe practicing the left hand by itself is more useful. Notice I'm playing the articulations of those quarter notes there a little bit shorter. It also helps with the fingering because I know it jumps around a lot. So, the other thing you can do is to slow it down a lot and try and speed up the tempo. So spend some time with that and practice it, and then let's try it all together here after you've done that. So let's try it at this tempo. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. That's it, and you can loop that a bunch of times on your own. So, I'm not expecting you to be able to all do that at once, and so hopefully you'll be able to spend some time with this before you move on to the next step, which is line C here. You're going to work on now playing inversions. So we have our D minor chord, and instead of going up here to G minor, we're going to do our G minor here. D minor, G minor, A to D minor. So using inversions like this is an absolute must when you're playing piano because it's better voice leading, and it's just going to be easier to play once you get the hang of it because you don't have to jump around. It's a lot harder to jump around and not miss a note. The other thing about these inversions is these are the same sorts of voice leading things, you know, the concepts that you're going to use in all the arranging classes. These are the same sorts of voice leading ideas that you hear in choir music, in wind ensemble, in jazz band, and in pop music, background vocals. Like, these are all the same ideas, and once you start to recognize how the notes move and where their tendencies are to resolve, then you can start applying that in your own music also. So I'm going to play this line C just as it's written with the left hand down an octave. And after some practice using some of the ideas that I mentioned for the second line, for line B, hopefully you'll be able to do this along with me. So here's line C, a little quicker than maybe than the last one. So here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Repeat it. So that's just one key, one chord progression, but that's a start to understanding how to play a groove like this. And if you can do it in this key, you'll be able to do it in other keys more easily. For next week, due a week from today, and refer to Blackboard to get the exact information. I don't want to misspeak and confuse everyone. So just look at the exam. Exam number 1, you're going to be playing 2 of these, 2 different keys, this bolero groove, that same chord progression, 1, 4, 5, 1. You're going to do it in A major, and you're going to do it in C minor. Just that 4-measure phrase with a metronome, and practice that and turn it in. And then we'll be moving on to the next topic. So great. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll catch you next week.